You're listening to the Two Sophies Baby Mamas, a realistic look into the life of two Welsh mamas, the ups and downs and all the in-betweens. So welcome to the party, bring your friends.
Hello, Kat. How are you? Thank you for coming on to our podcast today.
I'm good. I'm excited. I could talk about midwifery all day. Verbal diarrhea, so you're gonna have to shut me up.
I love
Oh, I
it.
can't wait.
Honestly, since having a baby, it's made me want to do what you do. I'm obsessed. I love
Keeps
it.
nagging me to like live stream my birth, and she wants to be there.
I do. I just love it so much.
Do it. There was a lady in America she's had her baby now, but for the whole 8 months she was on Instagram saying, because it's her fourth,
Yeah.
saying that she's gonna record her birth live, but unfortunately she ended up going into hospital, and they wouldn't let her do it. And there was like 900,000 people waiting. Like,
Wow,
online.
that's mad.
That'll be you.
I did makeup for someone the other week, and she paid a professional photographer to go in and take all these images.
Oh my God.
And do you want to see them? They like so like natural,
I bet.
like black
Wow.
and white, all like it was just her and this photographer. I was like,
What,
oh,
her
that's
partner wasn't there?
oh, she split up with her partner, but I was like,
Oh.
wow, fair play. You can have some photographer right up in your in the
In your
bed.
cutie.
Yeah.
South Wales birth photographer was probably her. Follow her on Instagram. She's got some amazing images. That's what she does.
Yeah, it was like really like raw, like all up in
Yeah.
the, if you've got a floating pool going on, like it's in the pic. There's no editing,
That's
But
the real one.
yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I follow this one page on Instagram actually, and they like do reels on the birth and everything.
Oh,
I've
wow.
seen that.
No.
Me and Leanne
It will though.
follow the page, and you can see everything.
Because I absolutely immersed myself in it all when I was pregnant. I watched like a full C-section on YouTube. I don't know, I immersed. I was like,
You was in it. You've
wanna
done
know.
everything. I
I
didn't
did.
do nothing. We were completely opposite. I did
Really?
nothing. Yeah, I did. I just turned up. I did. They said, "What do you want as your birth plan?" I was like, "Oh, I'll just see what happens." I wouldn't mind going in the pool, but it all happened perfect for me. Like I turned up at 4 o'clock, was in the pool at 1:15. I had him at 6:30. The only thing I should have done was breathe in, because when I was having Miles, right, I was like. They were like soft,
Panicking.
calm. I was just like, I don't know how to breathe because I didn't do any research. And they were like, right, come on, breathe with me here. And I was just like,
It's like you had a hot Greg's pasty.
yeah, honestly, that's how I was like. And I was, with the gas and air. And I was like, how do you even do this? I've never had gas and air before. I was using it to bite more. And they were like, watch your bloody teeth. Because I was just like, using it to
The
bite.
gas in air helps with the breathing though, but like, so there's
Yeah.
three kinds of people. There's you who didn't do anything and went in, and it all went really, really well, and you're probably quite a chill person.
Yeah.
There's the Sophie who's really invested, wants to know all about it, everything, fully prepped.
Yeah.
That's me. And then there's the third who isn't really chill, and then goes to have the baby and thinks at that moment in time
Yeah.
they want to happen, and that's a nightmare. Like,
Yeah. Like, because the ironic thing was, like, I say ironic. I knew my chances of having C-section could potentially be high just because of the way the system works and everything. But
yeah.
I had this lovely birth plan. I worked with my very, very good friend who had recently become hypnobirthing expert. I don't know what the term is. And she was just fantastic. And she was there with me, probably similar vibes to what you do. I think she's now going on to being like the more doula kind of side of things as well.
Yeah.
But I did Wicked with her. So she was really lovely, and she had all of her kids when we were there and stuff. So I was like, had this lovely plan. One day I had all my essences. I was like practicing birthing this balloon in the house. The like, what's that thing called? The something bowl. Anyway, I was doing that in the house. I had a birthing comb. I knew I wanted to be in a pool in a midwife led unit. I had all these things. Ellis was going to be my brain. He knew everything I wanted. I was going to be in the zone. And then I had a C-section. So, and it was like,
But that was because the baby was face presentation,
face
wasn't it?
presentation,
Yeah.
yeah.
And weren't you doing all of that really, really well?
Yeah, oh yeah, I was dilated. I got,
Yeah.
but I to that point, and even in my C-section, what I had learned and kind of got into my mind really helped me in that environment as well. Like
Yeah.
I felt, I didn't feel, even though they, it was an emergency, and we spoke about this before, I don't like that. It was an unplanned C-section, and they got me in as
Yes.
quick as they could. I felt really calm, even when they're telling you all this information, what could happen. I knew they were going to say that because I'd already learned about
Correct.
that
Yeah.
beforehand. I knew they were going to tell me that I could lose blood and I could do this, and you need to sign a waiver. So it
Because
wasn't
I
like a
didn't
shock.
even prep for that. I didn't even think about a C-section. I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna turn up and see what happens. Like I just,
Some people that works. Like it
Yeah.
really, it really does. And did you deliver in Prince Charles?
yeah.
That's where I
Like,
used to work.
like I turned
Yeah.
up and we're like, my waters went at 6 and then I went over the hospital at 9. They were like, yeah, you're all good. We'll book you in to be induced. But then as we were driving home, I was getting all the feels, That was 1 o'clock. And then by 3, drove back over. We left at 3. And then by 4, it was just all chilled. Like it just all went well. By
Shut
4,
off the street in the living room.
yeah. My mother, they're all here. I was mooing around the house. And
I
then
love it.
phone Prince Charles, and by 3, I was like, ooh, because on the app it tells you. I did have that app that they were like, make your way to hospital.
Freya, the
So,
dreaded Freya app. I love the Freya app. It's
yeah, it was
brilliant for
good.
breathing, but it
Yeah.
tells you your baby's going to pop out of your fooch in about
Yeah,
10
it was like,
minutes.
make your
Don't
way,
get to
pack your
hospital.
bag. So yeah, I made my way over, and then yeah, Prince Charles was fab. I think February was really quiet because they were like, yeah, pool's running. I had this woman come in. Do you want this disco ball? I was like, I don't really ball. Do you want what music do you want? I was like, I don't know. I was just so laid back. They were like, what are you wearing in the pool? I don't know. I just took my top off, got in, and then it was just like tidy. And then
Do you know what blood group you are? Just
I do.
curiosity.
I can't remember now.
So different we are. I do.
No, it's
Yeah.
nothing like jazzy. Some people have I think it's pretty normal. I don't
So
know.
there's like, it's a midwifery. How can I put it? I cannot believe that they haven't done any research on this. So if you ask any midwife, or if you tell a midwife that you're A positive, so if you're A pos blood group,
Yeah.
in our own midwifery research, going back years and years and years, you labour really quickly, like
Oh,
super
I need
quick.
to find out now. Right, I'm going to ask on my
Oh,
appointment. Will they know? Oh, will I find
You'll
out?
know if you didn't have the anti-rejection.
No, I didn't have that.
So she's
That's the
definitely
jazzy
positive.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, you're definitely positive. So I don't know why they don't do any research on it. I can sit here and say 100% if a woman's A positive and her baby's in a good position, your labour will just be like that.
I
Well,
know that's
just like
fab.
I'm
That's
O
fab.
negative, I am, so I'm different to you, I think.
I
have
need to
ask
find
the
out now
doctor.
because I don't really. I'll find out, and then we'll see. But yeah, it was very good. He was £9.7, pushed himself out.
Amazing.
Sorry,
So you're
Kat,
having a home birth.
we've
Go on.
we've kind of we'll definitely go on to that. We've kind of chatted a bit now before actually introducing who you bloody are. So we've got Kat on here. She's a fantastic midwife. I'll put this in the bit at the start anyway before you come on. But talk to us about how you got into being a midwife. You have
Yeah.
children yourself. Like what was your journey into being a midwife? Because I genuinely think I want to do it when I'm a bit older, when I've had my kids. Genuine.
Well, that's what I did. So I'm Kat. I'm an independent midwife. So I had 3 children. After my second, I decided I wanted to be a midwife. So I'm thick. I had to go back to school and do all my GCSEs at 30 years of age with little 16-year-old gits.
Wow.
And I did it. And then I had to do like psychology and physiology and all of that before I could apply for my degree.
Wow.
So
Is it like that now?
if you were clever in school, then no, you can just apply for your degree. So
I wasn't thick, but I don't have any A levels, but I do have my GCSEs.
Yeah, you went.
you
Yeah,
you don't. So no, you wouldn't have to do. You might have to do an access course because I had to do that as well.
That's like
Okay.
is that a year? I think is that a year?
Did mine over a year. You can do it over. You can do it over 2.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that was lovely because it's like an introduction into like getting back into school. There was a lot of mature students there who were either going into nursing, midwifery, or mental health. It was really nice. And then I applied for the degree, and it's so competitive. I didn't get in the first year, and I didn't expect not to get in.
Yeah.
There was like 12 places in the uni that I applied to, And then I was like, well, I don't know what to, I was devastated, and I decided to volunteer for charities and stuff. And unbeknown to me, I was pregnant again then.
Oh,
So everything happens for a reason sometimes.
It really does. I think I was like 8 weeks pregnant, and I was in Bridgend Hospital signing paperwork to be a volunteer. And they asked me, or they said, oh, make sure you put the date. So I wrote the date down, and I was like, oh my God, shit, I haven't come on.
oh,
So I was
Whoa.
like, doodly doodly do, went home, bought a pregnancy test, found out I was pregnant, thought my husband's going to go absolutely mental, hid the pregnancy test so I could get my own head around it in a drawer that he never ever goes in, ever. He just come home and he was looking for something and went in the drawer 10 minutes later, found this test.
oh
And
my
oh,
God.
he
And then,
literally
yes,
lost
how
the
was
plot.
that?
He was like, you trapped me, because I always wanted more kids. And I was like, what do you mean trap? We've been together like 20 years.
Yeah.
Anyway, we calmed down, and I was pregnant. I went for my interview to get into uni when my daughter I was pregnant at 36 weeks pregnant, and I didn't tell them I was pregnant. And I opened the door to the interview room in the university, and they were like gobsmacked.
Mm.
And then I found out I got onto the degree when my daughter was 24 hours old.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
Oh, that gave me shivers then. That's so cute.
My head
So
was
emotional
like,
about babies. Jesus Christ.
I was
That's
like,
incredible.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So my husband gave up work to be a stay-at-home dad to look after
No.
them, because we'd never put our kids in childcare or anything. So I was like a self-employed skating coach, and I started the degree when she was 3 months old. So
Oh
do
my
it.
God. I will.
Do
Honestly,
it.
I was flying to Newcastle a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember if I've mentioned this in the podcast, but I sat next to this girl. She was on a trip with her friends. They were like going to 30th birthday in Newcastle. They were all dressed as like cowgirls. I was like, bit of me. I was going up to Newcastle for a gig where I was like, I kind of want to be on your party. Anyway, turn up, she was a midwife and she just qualified like a year, or she was studying. She was like qualifying in a year. And she was like, I had my kids, and she said I had a terrible experience on the first, and then I did hypnobirthing on the second, had a brilliant experience, and like I'm obsessed now. I could talk about it all day. So we just chatted, and she was telling me a little bit like there's a couple of different ways you can do it, isn't there? Like I don't know what the term was called now, but one way you do like a lot of the uni work in uni, and you're not really in hospitals very much. But then there's another
Yeah.
version it's like the other way around.
Yeah, so I did 50-50. So because I'm dyslexic as well. So it's 50% academic, 50% practical.
Yeah.
But because I'm a very hands creative person, I flew through the practical stuff.
Yeah.
Struggled with the academic, but it's brilliant because it like evens out. And I got a first, and I don't know how, because I honestly, when I say I'm thick, I'm thick.
Yeah.
It's not not a little bit thick, it's a
Yeah.
lot. Everyone out there who thinks you can't do it, I can't even spell, you can. Like it's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I just
Um,
really love it. And it's something I think I would look to maybe go into the doula side of things first, just to check I actually can cope in that environment.
it
Like
is
I know you've got
emotional.
to do yeah, it is the emotional side of things rather than like luckily I am relatively intelligent. So, like the science and all things like that, and like the stats and knowing things,
Yeah.
I'd be fine. But you know, I cry. Oh my God, at everything. Like I'll be that midwife, like, oh, happy for you.
Yeah, but the bits I've been in where the dad's giving me a hug and the mum's just left to it on the bed, I'm just like I don't know how anyone can't get emotional in
Yeah,
that.
I
Yeah.
know. It's just the more every single person that I know that's been pregnant and they birth, like every story amazes me. I never find it like boring or like, oh yeah, well, I've heard that before. I just find it incredible. Like I
Yeah.
just it's
It is.
I do
And
love
then
the
I worked in
mum
the
going every minute.
NHS. Then I worked in the NHS for like 16 years with training. And 2 years ago, 2 days ago actually, I just thought I just don't really want to work in the system anymore. Love the NHS, but it just wasn't for me. I like that relationship. I want to build a relationship with the people I look after, and continuity and things. And I always did continuity in the NHS if I could, but
Yeah.
you're not really encouraged to do it just because I say this all the time, so I'm not speaking out of turn. It's a service and it's a system. And for a system to work safely, you have to have things put in place.
Yeah.
And we don't all fit into the system.
Mm.
It's really difficult. And if you do, it's perfect and you'll have a really positive experience. But for those who don't, then I just wanted to offer something different. That's all.
Yeah.
So how does it work with you? I'm really interested actually, because you offer a service to people. So say, for example, now Soph's pregnant and she had her with a midwife. Would she still go to like scans in the hospital, or how does it work with what you do, basically?
So you can do two different things. So you can have, it's called shared care. So obviously I'm private, so you have to pay for the service.
Yeah.
So because some clients just don't want anything to do with the NHS at all. They just want everything done at home. So all the appointments are done at home. The minute they find out they're pregnant, they book a package all the way through. I always advise them to still book with the NHS, because if we ever needed to go into hospital for any reason, they already know about you. It's just safe, have a set of bloods done with the hospital that we may have to transfer in. But shared care, like you can save quite a lot of money because you're entitled to NHS services. So you could have all your bloods and your scans done in hospital and still have all your antenatal appointments at home with me.
Yeah.
So that way you save a bit of money, because it is a lot of money because the insurance is like so expensive. So you save a bit of money, and then you get to be, birth's environmental, right? You have to be in the right environment to birth effectively. So then you're going into that environment as well, just in case that's where you want to be. And also, like, for hospital support, some ladies do want, ladies who book me may still want to birth in hospital. So then I go in and support them when they go into hospital to have their babies as well. It's not, I think people just think it's the home births that I do. But it isn't. I support in hospital. I've got a lady who's due in August who I'm supporting in hospital. Because they just want that extra person who can like advocate for them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know that you are into the hypnobirthing side of things as well, and I just loved knowing as much as I could. So do you think being that extra, because your husband or partner or whoever you've got in there with you, your mother, father, might end up having a little bit of a wobble and not be able to, be that like extra bit of support? Like my brother-in-law, for example, is got the weakest stomach ever and will faint at like the sight of this, like, sight of a needle. So like my sister, bless her, having kids young, she probably would have really been helpful having someone like you there. Just that bit of, someone that you've got really familiar with, because I don't know about you, Soph, but like I didn't really see the same midwife twice. My local midwife I did, but then I had a lot of student midwives, which was fine. Like, they were all amazing. It's not that, but you don't really get that like familiarity, feeling really confident in asking questions. I often felt a little bit like daft if I would ask something and the answer would come so quickly, as in like, oh, well, it's just obviously that. And I'd be thinking, oh yeah, but this is my first time. Like, I don't bloody hell I'm doing
I
it.
want more.
I want more information.
And it's not like private healthcare in any aspect. And I'm the only one in Wales, so it's still quite woo. Like, I'm a complete and utter hippie, so people think it's all a bit woo woo. So it's still quite new, and it's not financially like not everyone can afford it. And I can't control people's purchase power either. It's like, what do you think is valuable to you in this moment in time? So I do like a midwifery consultancy service as well, where you could like have 20-minute Zoom with me and ask, like what you were saying, Soph. I always felt like I was asking stupid questions. Or so say you were low risk pregnancy and they've said, oh, you've got gestational diabetes, and they don't have that time to talk to you that much about it in that appointment. You could just book a 20-minute consultation appointment with me, and I'll go through it all with you, because I'm very aware. Like, if I could do my job for free, then I absolutely would. That's how much I love it. So I just
want to be. Works, though, is it?
Especially the world these bloody days.
I know.
So that's accessible. Like, people could just, I think it's like 35 quid. They just pay for a Zoom, and we can just chat back and forth like we are now. Because you do want all of that information, and we're not all the same species.
So I know, like, there could be times where you have someone that's ready to give birth. I assume you have to block out your time then, do you? And you're because if you can't have two people at the same time that you might have to go to their birth. How do you manage
Yeah.
that time?
So when I go on call for a woman, it's 24/7 from 37 weeks up until she births. So, and it's not like, oh, you're 42 weeks now, I'm off shift. Like I had a lady birth at 43 plus 5.
Oh
So
my God.
she's a legend. I was on call for her for that whole time. So I only tend to take 2 a month. Just because, and like the geography that I cover as well. So I would never ever take anyone who's due on the same day. But don't even get me started on due dates. They're a load of rubbish.
Oh,
You too.
so I was 41 plus 6. So I could talk about it all day, honestly. I know there will be people that are like, oh, look you hippies. Because as much as I'm not a hippie, I am as well. Like I am deep down. I would live on a caravan site wearing harem trousers, like if I didn't have to earn money. But I found, and you might find this now, so when we can speak about when you were like asked to be induced and stuff, because your story is different to mine again. But I was very much don't want to be induced. From what I'd learned and the information I'd gathered, I was like, it's not for me. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And I just want to see how I go.
That's what I was like as well. I was like,
I
I'll go with the flow. But she
Right,
was a bit arsy. She was like, he's going to rip you. I was like, well, I'll see what happens.
I know, it's so scary.
Yeah, he's like, go his shoulders, rip you. I was like,
Words.
I can deal with my hips don't lie, honey.
And they definitely don't.
No, he flew out like a bloody lobster.
It's no stitches here.
Say you like contacted me and you were like, oh, I'm 8 weeks pregnant and I've had a scan, or 12 weeks pregnant, because it's the 12-week scan that's the most research says that 12-week dating scan, 11 to 12-week dating scan is the best way to measure the date. Okay,
Yeah.
so in terms of what, but say you message me and you were like, oh, Kat, I'm 12 I've had my 12-week scan, I'm pregnant and I want to book you. The first thing I ask is, do the dates fit in with yours? So like, exactly. And all my dates on all my babies were completely wrong. And I think on my third, Lowy, or was it I can't remember, we hadn't even had sex. Like by the NHS scan date, it was like, there's no way I'm this far along, because we hadn't had sex, so there's no way this is right. So I just went with my dates, and that's what I do for the women. But even that lady was 43 plus 5. She got to 42 weeks, and she's one of the strongest women I've ever met. She was triggered.
Oh yeah.
And it's that conversation, it's having that conversation. And that's when, I'm not selling myself because I don't do that. I'm not a businessy person, but that's when you could do with someone being your advocate, to be like, well, what are the risks? Are the risks this?
Even though I was so adamant in that environment, and even Ellis was shocked when they started saying the things that I knew they were going to say, like the statistics they were coming out with, like the placenta not functioning properly and blah, blah. And I had lovely midwives. I didn't feel pressured, but I did feel, like you say, triggered. I felt a bit like, am I being stupid here? Like, am I just being stubborn now because I've learned about this and I know better? I really did doubt myself, but because I didn't even want sweeps, but I did have one sweep. I was 41 plus 5, and I was like, do you know what? I am feeling like I'm ready to explode. Like it was more that how I felt, not so much what they were telling me I should or shouldn't do. I was like, do you know what? I was like a bloody orange. I was huge, and my lips and nose were massive. I was like, I'm ready. I think let's have a go. Let's have a go. But up until that point, I was like, no, I'm not ready. No, I'm not ready. He feels fine. So yeah, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, you've just got to go with your gut though. So like with this due date thing, I can guarantee I'll have a lady who's like, there's absolutely no way I'm going to be induced. And every single one gets to that point where I'm like, well, you don't have to go in. And so say for me, say you were coming up to 42 weeks, my guidelines are still the same. So the guideline is have a conversation with an obstetrician. So have that obstetric review and explore your options. But what's not out there is, well, you can decline. So like I'll say, this is my guidance. This is what the nice guidance advises, like explore your options of induction and things like that. And you could be like, well, I don't want to. That's fine. I'll just say we've had a conversation. You're aware of the risks. Are there any? And no, thank you. Sophie doesn't want to go in and speak to a doctor today. It's that's not put across at all. I don't think that you can actually choose to say no to stuff.
Because when they said, well, you're going to do this, what was you weren't even like 40 weeks, were you? What were
It
you?
was like 38. They were like, we're trialing something now, being induced early. They were like trialing something, and I was just like, nah, it's fine. Like she said, oh, come back next week and then let us know. And I was like, I went back and I was like, no, I'm just gonna wait and see. And she was
But
like,
that's amazing to me that you didn't even really know what induction potentially was, but you were still like, no, your instinct
You
was telling
get
you no.
I was like,
Yeah.
he'll come when he's ready. I just felt like I was fine. And yeah, he did. And he was bloody amazing. Like he came 2 days early. It was just so good. But yeah, I didn't even know, I didn't do any research. It was so funny. When my mucus plug come out, we were all, me and Charlie were running around like, it's happening, it's happening. Because we didn't really have a clue. And then the week later he came, like my mucus come on the Wednesday. Charlie was running around, he stubbed his toe, and we were like, and then the week after I had him on the Monday. But
Yeah.
like I'm so glad that I just did go with the flow. Like, I don't know, it's different for
You
everyone.
did have a very, very positive experience, and I'm so pleased with you, because we were in a group chat and like there was 7 of us that had babies in 2022. Sophie was the first and I was the last. So like by the end I had like 6 stories
Yeah.
where Sophie was the first one going in blind.
Yeah, it was like 2 of us had similar. Me and Leanne had very similar.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
There's three out of the 7 had cesareans, and 2 of those were from induction, and they, bless them, had quite long, like intense experiences.
I've just done you good stories really. About
I've
induction.
had 1 or 2. I have had 1 or 2, but the majority I would say are not as pleasant.
Yeah.
Whereas mine was, I had a C-section, but I couldn't speak any more highly about the consultant. Like my recovery, I was really lucky. So, you know, whether that's just chance or whether it's because I wasn't induced, so I was labouring nice and then just had the C-section. Whereas I feel if you're induced and you're in for like 40 hours, you're knackered, you then they picked up an infection, like, oh, they were in for 4 days after.
Different stories, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the things with induction, I think women don't realise, and their partners, so couples don't realise you can come off that ladder at any point. So if you think you're going in for, and this is why there's no positive birth stories about, or not, I shouldn't say no, I'm generalising, there's not many. There are out there, but it's where the woman still has choice. So you go in and you've chosen, so you haven't been told that you've got to be induced, you've chosen to be induced, you've got all the information, and you think, I'm going to give it a go, and it's your choice to make. And then you can get so far on the ladder of induction because it's a process that you start. And I think most people just succumb, like, I'm on it now, so I need to just stay on this ladder of intervention. But you can actually just come off it at any point and say, stop the best. I don't want to be induced anymore. I want to rest to think about what my choices are. Or actually, I want an elective C-section now. I've given it a go. My body's fighting it. What's the actual point? It's, you know, what's the outcome going to be when I've been here for 3 days already?
I know.
And just take a breather, but they don't take a breather, and I don't say that easy. I really don't, because it's really hard to when you're in it.
It is, and like when we speak to the girls who chose to be induced, you know, that was their choice to a degree, but did they have the full information? Potentially not. But I don't know, I just feel like you are told, and because you're just another number, and I understand that they are under pressure, and I'm not saying this is one person's fault, it is the system. It's just unfortunately they can't create that unique experience per person. They have quotas to meet. But if like one of the girls was told, right, when we induce you now, it's going to ramp up really quick and you're going to feel very intense feelings and blah, 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 blah. They might then go, oh, do you know what? Can we wait another hour or 2?
Yeah.
Just so you have that decision given to you, rather than, right, let's check that pessary in, or let's check you on the drip.
Yeah.
And Christ knows what's going on. Oh,
Yeah,
it's
just take a
waiting.
breath, isn't it? So
Yeah.
it's like you had an amazing experience, so that was brilliant. But and even though you're saying like you didn't know what, you didn't prep or anything, subconsciously you still went with your instinct of there's no
Yeah.
rush, I could just wait. So it's not like you went into it blind and thought, oh, well, if they're saying that's what I need to do, that's what I need to
Mm.
do. You did come away and think,
Yeah, they did give
oh
me a
yeah,
week to decide, but I just didn't believe that he was going to be as big as he was. I was like, I'm not having a 10-pound baby. But I just
love
didn't believe
it.
him, but because people always say, oh, they get it wrong, that they didn't, my baby didn't weigh that much. So in my head, I was thinking, oh, nah. But then when he came out, this big Buddha, I was like, oh, shit. He
I
Love
really-
it.
mean, in general, the weight they tell people 9 times out of 10 they're not very accurate.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
you know, they throw darts at a dartboard. Eventually, one of them's going to hit the bullseye. And with you, it did. With me, they were wrong.
Did. Yes,
So
20%, which towards the end of labor, towards the end of pregnancy, that can increase because obviously the head goes into the pelvis and you can't see the full measurement of the head when it's in the pelvis. So it's even more of a grey area then.
Mhm. They
But
booked me in to be I got that diabetes,
GPT,
that what is it called, digestional, yeah, that.
gestational
Yeah,
diabetes test.
I've got that now already. They were like, they booked that in straight away. I was like,
well,
Are
because
you
you
doing
had
it?
hmm?
Are you going to do it?
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, you only got to have a little drink of it now for 2 hours and I just sit in an online shop for 2 hours. So and you get 2 hours off the now. So I'm just going to go there. I think it's next week. So just next Thursday. I was just like, why not?
So have they said for you to do it because you had a 10-pound baby?
Yes, they said,
There's-
yeah, that's what they said.
So there's no diabetes in your family or anything like that?
No,
I had to do it on Jack, and I can't remember why.
I
Have you
think it
got
was a
diabetes in
spike.
your family?
It was fine, and then there was a spike in his growth. But me and Charlie are
Oh,
really
maybe that's what
tall,
mine was.
and yeah, they just said I had to do it. But then they literally booked it in when I was 12 weeks. Like,
Oh, right.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was like ages ago, and they booked it in for July already. So I was like, that's mad.
So
I'm
I'll tell you about it, and then you could decide whether you want to put it in or not, right?
yeah.
So basically, what's happened is you've had a big baby who
Mhm.
was absolutely perfectly fine
Yeah.
and processed. So in the system, they've put in that Sophie had a large big baby, and then it comes back, oh, query gestational diabetes, and then the brain, then the risk is like, oh, you'll have another big baby. So we'll do a gestational diabetes test on you at 28 weeks, and if that doesn't come back as positive, then you haven't got gestational diabetes. So they've ticked a box.
Yeah.
But on my battery, if it comes back as positive, has my screen gone dark your side?
No.
No.
Oh, okay. If it comes back as positive, and it could be a false positive, it could just be a little bit positive. Then you're then into the realms of being like high risk. They deem you as high risk because
Yeah.
you've got gestational diabetes. You have to check your blood sugars every day. So I just, yeah, make sure you get all of that information because you don't have to have that test if you don't want
Yeah.
that. Does that make
I was
sense?
just like, yeah, if you want me to have it, because I was just like, yeah, well, it was fine last time, should be fine this time. I don't know, I just wing everything. So yeah.
What is the reason someone can like just have that through pregnancy? Like, why do some people get it and some people don't?
There's normally a family history. Diet is a
Yeah.
biggie. How you break down glucose in your body is a massive thing. How you absorb, like our bodies just go absolutely mental in pregnancy.
Yeah.
Things that you've never been prone to before that you are. But normally, if there's no family history and your diet's on point, and when I say diet, I don't mean not eating. I mean like you eat sweets and stuff and veg, and
Yeah.
so you've got like a wide various diet. That's absolutely fine. You should be fine. It's very rare that there's no like underlying reason.
Oh, I'm so excited for yourself. So what kind of birth are you hoping to have this time, Sophie?
Well, because last time went so well, I was they kind of said, oh well, you could have one in the house next time, and I was like, well, do you know what, actually, doesn't tell me now. So I was like,
But
oh, yeah,
It's
I
really
will, might
lovely.
actually, just because Charlie's mother has got 2 boys, so you kind of like, it's like Charlie and my mother would be there. But I was like, oh, I would like Deb to be there as well, so that would be nice. So I was like,
So chilled.
well, why don't I just have her in the house and we'll have a little spread?
Love it. I'm
So,
buzzing.
but then the only thing I like, the more I get into it now, I'm like, oh, so what happens now? I got 2 dogs in the house. I got Miles. Like, when do I pump a pool up? Like, apparently seconds faster. Like, I got all these questions now because I'm like, normally, like, I guess the app told me I had to go to hospital. So I'm like, oh, don't know. Like, where do people normally have babies in the house? In the kitchen, the living room? Like, what do I have to do?
So should we pretend that I'm your midwife?
Yeah.
And I'll be like saying, this is nearer the time, this is what you need to do. So first and
Yeah.
foremost, what stuff do you need for a home birth? So if you talk about logistics, shower curtains, because they're brilliant to cover, like old shower curtains to cover sofas and stuff.
Right.
You need loads and loads of old towels, because if it was me, I go through about 12 because I'm chaos. So old towels. And what I always say is pack a what if bag. So pack a
Right.
bag as if you're going into hospital, like as if you were going to go to hospital and have your baby.
Mm.
Pack a bag just in case, and do it with your partner. So
Yeah.
bless him, he knows where everything is.
Yeah.
And
Well,
have that ready.
when we went to hospital with Miles, I just said, oh, I'll leave it in the car, I will need it. And then I got there, it was 5 centimeters, had Miles in the pool, and I didn't even have a bag because it was still in the car. And then when we got the bag, there was no, do you know when they have that first poo and it's like tar?
Yeah,
The
meconium.
woman was
Yeah.
like, oh, do you have wet wipes? And we were like, I didn't even pack a wet wipe. I was like, oh, sorry, I packed all these things and I didn't even pack a
Oh
wet
my
wipe
God.
for this tar poo. But yeah, so I think, yeah, we need to pack it tidy and we'll definitely remember wet wipes
Yeah.
this time.
And just have it like in the corner, whatever. You don't really need anything else. And then are you going to have a pool? Did you want a pool?
Yeah, I was thinking, I loved the pool first time. I don't know if it was because I was tall, but I was using the whole pool to like push. Because I had my
Yeah.
arms, my back, and my feet were touching it, and I was just like, I used it to push basically. So I think I would have a pool, but yeah, the midwife was saying I have to like either buy one or rent one.
Yeah.
Charlie said, "Oh,
So
I'm
I
gonna bloody
can
start a
send you,
business. Buy it, rent it out. It's like 100 odd quid in it."
it is. Some of them are like 150, but when we get off, I'll send you a link so you know. And so you've got to get the pool, you've got to get a liner. So it's good to get a package because they come with the hose pipes, but some of them also come with so the worst thing about having a birth at home, it's not even the worst because there isn't any bad things, but you've got to empty the pool after.
Oh yeah.
But some of them come with like a reverse hose pipe. So you just stick it onto this little attachment, sits in the bottom of the pool, and the hose pipe goes down the toilet and it just sucks everything out.
Mm.
So you need a
There were
pool,
so
a
many
liner, and
bits
all
in
of
the pool
that.
anyway, but last time, but you never know this time.
In terms of the pool, stay in a certain temperature. How do you do that?
So you don't have to. Like guidance is, we don't want it too hot so that mum's temperature goes up.
Yeah.
And we don't want it below like 37, 36 and a half degrees when the baby's on its way. But in between all of that, you can have it whatever you want. Like women birth in rock pools in Russia. Like it's no, yeah, it's
I don't
mainly
really like
like
a
if
hot
you're
bath
coping with the
anyway.
temps.
I don't
Yeah,
like being in the
But
bath for
how
too
do
long.
you fill it up though? From the tap?
I
yeah.
would
So
do the 2 kettles and have them. Then it's
the
like,
connect
when do you start doing that? Like, because everyone's like,
for
oh,
you,
come fast. They're going to come fast this time.
for you. So I'm a hippie, as I said, but this is science. It is science. It's not just the physical things you go through when you're going into labor. So like if a woman, say you rang me and I was booked to be your midwife and you rang me and you were like, oh, we would have already had all these conversations antenatally. And I would say to you, if you wake up and you feel different and you've got different emotions and you're feeling a right cow today and you're not normally like that, I want to know. I want to know that you're feeling a little bit meh. Because
Yeah.
that is a sign that labor is coming. And at that point, even if it comes in 2 days or whatever, your body, your mind, where your mind goes, your body follows. Your mind is telling you that you're about to, something's changed, something's not quite right. I feel all a bit unbalanced. And I'd be like, so get the pool up ready, don't fill it, but just get it all ready so we're all prepped. If nothing happens, nothing happens, but just do it so it's prepped, because it can take up to like an hour and a half to get it up and fill. You are going to have your baby in that time based on what your last birth was. So it's like getting into all those emotions.
Very
like
long,
already.
isn't it? Crazy.
Yeah.
Would
So
you
then
say second births are faster, or what's the? Are they better? Are they fast?
Like mine was my second birth was half hour, and my third was 10 minutes, and I'm A positive, by the way. So it tends to be, if the baby's in a good position and you've had enough to eat, to drink, you're dehydrated and you've prepped for the marathon, it tends to be, but there's no real evidence to say that. It's just, so there's no like research paper that says second births are faster. It's just what we see as midwives.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It's crazy.
Yeah, Sophie
It
doesn't
is.
know. It's going to be so exciting for you because she doesn't know what she's having either. So she's got a nice
Oh,
surprise.
I love that.
Yeah, I was like, I needed to know first time. I was like, oh, I really want a boy. And I was like, because my sister's got a little girl. I was like, I want a boy. And then, yeah, I had my boy and I'm like, I'm not bothered now.
Yeah.
He is
I
loved.
think it's nice.
He's
so,
like a little supermodel.
I know he's
he is
stunning.
so cute. I'm like, how did I make him?
I know
He's just so bloody cute. Like on holidays, I was just like, Char, look at him. Every day we like, look at him. He goes to bed, I'm like, Char, come and see him.
I know.
It's like, it's mad, isn't it?
Mad, isn't it?
But yes, I'm excited. This time I was like, Charlie, we setting up tripods around the kitchen, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have nothing with Miles. It happened so fast. He was already out and Charlie was filming it. So I was just like, I want to see it. You kind of forget, because I said to Charlie yesterday, I was like, when did I even start pushing? I remember I was 6-ish and I was looking at my skin. I was very wrinkly. So I was in the pool from 4. I was just all wrinkly and I'm not a bath girl. So I was thinking I could
Yeah.
be out now. And then when they checked, they were like, no, it's time now. And I was like 6-ish. You get to a point when you're like, oh, I'm a bit, no. But then I was
Transition.
It was time to go.
Transition. You've had enough. It's time to go. Let's rock on. That's Mother Nature, like just giving you that big push at the end, so you can just like get all your energy together to have the bubs.
Yeah. And then you can't have anything, and you're good to go. So I was like, oh, I could have something now. And then you come out by 6:36. But the only thing for me was my placenta. That took about an hour to come out after.
That's quite nice. Did you have the injection?
Yeah, I had that. But it still took an hour. They said my bladder was in the way.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say either full bladder, because your bladder can hold a full bladder can hold the baby up or the placenta up, or sometimes with really, really quick births, it takes a while for it to come. It's like your uterus is absolutely exhausted because it's been doing that really, really quickly over a short space of time. And then it's just like, oh, I'm going to have a breath. I'm going to have a rest.
Yeah, that's what it did. Because I was like, come on. And it was like I always say, it was like a sack of potatoes just sat there waiting. And the student midwife was trying to, like, she was pulling, she was like, it's not coming. And I was just like, and then they made me get it, like, obviously climb out of the pool. And then I laid down, then they made me get up to go to the toilet. Then they ran in the shower, trying to just get me to pee. And I was like, I'm not peeing. So then I had to have a catheter. And then as soon as I had that, I came straight out then. I was like, it popped out. Yeah, and it comes straight out. I was like, great, I filled a bucket full of bloody pee. And then it came out, and then they were like, do you want to see her? I was like, I don't want to, get it. And I was like, been sat in my ass for about an hour.
So you'd be like, ooh, let me have a look.
I'd be like, I wanted to see my placenta. That was on my birth plan, right? I wanted to see it just because I was like, I've just grown this organ. I want to see it.
I didn't want to see it next time, but at the time I was so annoyed because I was just sat there and I was like shaking, and it was like I just pushed out 9.7 baby. I was like, it was stinging, and I was just like, I feel like this. It was such a weird feeling of it sat there waiting to come out, and I was just like, oh, he was uncomfortable, and because I had to get up, and then you walk in like you got with a tail back and forth the toilet. I was just like, oh, and it was just not sexy. Like you just dripping, and I had this cloak on, and I was just like, cloak.
Cloak. Your
And I was-
superwoman cloak.
It was just like, yeah. And then she was holding me like a dog, you know, because you're like the thing out was
Umbilical
yeah,
cord.
the cord was hanging out to me, and then she was following me to the toilet like a lead, and then you hang it over the toilet then, and then they were all like around me like. Psst, psst.
Oh, that's intense, man. That's really
I was just like,
intense.
nah, get it away from me.
That is intense, and there's no way oxytocin was going to help you there with all those people in the room. Do you know what I always say to my clients and antenatal class people? Nothing prepares you for the time after you've had a baby. It's so intrusive, more than labor,
Yeah.
because I mean, I'll talk from my own experience. A lot has to be done after you've had a baby, and for a mum and a dad, they just want to be left alone. So we try and leave you alone as much as possible, like have that golden hour. But there's a time there's a time that we allow for the placenta, not we, but physiologically, you don't want that placenta to stay in for longer than an hour, really. And then we've got to check your blood loss and check, see if you need sutures, and it's just so intense and intrusive that time. So
you didn't care at that time, or do you? Because she was like, oh, I got a few scratches. I was like, oh, daddy, you know. Yeah, I got my big nappies on, and I lived in them for about a month. Oh, I loved them.
Yeah, they are.
amazing.
They're always massive nappies.
I sometimes wear them now if I'm on really heavy.
Yeah.
Charlie's mother
I was
always
just
be like
gonna
a
say.
8-pack off Amazon. I loved them.
I agree.
They were like sitting on air, the clouds. Not like a
Yeah.
pad.
If you want to sponsor us always, you can.
I definitely put them in, like linked them, and I was like, you all need a box, an 8-pack, because
Yeah.
you wouldn't even wear like pads. You can feel them, can't you? And
Yeah.
I loved a nappy for ages, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
with my placenta, like even though I had a C-section, I still wanted to see it. And I remember saying, oh, can I see my placenta? And they brought it over to me in like a hazard waste bag. And I was like, oh,
Yeah, a yellow bag.
yeah,
Oh,
that wasn't the way.
you can turn them into gummies, can't you?
I
You
know
would do
yours.
that, wouldn't you? You can
No.
turn them into a sweet.
I did think about it, but I don't know, being vegetarian just made me feel a bit weird.
Even though it's not meat, but I know what you mean.
Yeah,
It's
I
the
was just a bit
texture.
like, I'm a fussy eater.
So I was on Made in Chelsea, someone had them in the fridge and they grabbed one like, oh, these are nice.
But like I learned all about like, have you come across lotus birth soap? Do you know what that is?
Yes.
Hell no.
Now, I
It's not
definitely
your thing, though. It's definitely
No.
not. I've only just
No.
met you, and I know it's not your
No.
thing.
but it's when you don't cut the cord, so the baby's born and the placenta is still connected to the baby. The placenta comes out, and you leave it on until the baby
Until it falls off, and they
Oh,
just carry it
the
around in a
cold
bucket
time.
with,
Yeah.
with smelling salts or lavender oil or bleach. So you've got the baby breastfeeding or whatever, bottle feeding, carrying the baby around, and then the placenta's in like a bucket or a bag. It's a very spiritual thing to do.
Oh, so that's
There's
really
no
bad.
real
You have a
physiological
go.
scientific benefits to it. Once that
I
cord
don't do it
has
either.
stopped pulsating and it's cold and white, it's not doing anything physically, but for some people, some cultures, spiritually,
Nuts. Never heard
it
that.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted delayed cord clamping as much as possible, but I remember saying, can you just obviously with the big screen, I was like, can you make sure you do that? And they were like, we'll do it for as much as we can. But he was absolutely battered. They needed to like just check he was all right. He looked like he'd been boxing. But yeah, so my placenta story is very, I was like, please let me see it. It's like my second child.
Yeah, I was thinking like it'd be nice because they were like when that happened, and then it was like 8 o'clock, and they were like, oh, you can go home now if you want. And I was like, oh, driving over the bloody mountain this hour. February, I'm freezing cold. I don't know what I'm doing at the minute. So just let me chill out. So they chucked some like soft play for Charlie on the floor to like have a lay down. But I fell asleep then. Honestly, it was so funny. Charlie's like, you didn't even wake up. I was just like, gone.
Love
It's
it.
like, so Charlie kind of looked at, I was just like, oh, I just fell asleep. But so I was like, yeah, it would be nice to be in my own house. Because yeah, we
There's
live
no point you
over-
going in. Number one, you're not going to get there.
Yeah.
Like I mean, you will if you listen. If like you're listening to your
Yeah.
emotions of things, you could have that option. But you don't. Like you're literally just going to turn up, have a baby, and come home.
Oh yeah.
It's like
And that just
my
disrupts.
friend Melissa, she's a superwoman. Like she had 2 babies before I had Jack, and everything she's done, I've been like, I want to emulate what you've done because she's just so amazing. She's half Serbian, and sorry, she's full Serbian, but she grew up in New Zealand, so I think she's got a bit of that Eastern European like
Yeah.
guts about her. Her second baby, her husband Gareth was playing with the Welsh team. And he flew to South Africa, I think. It was somewhere really bloody far away. He had delayed his flight as long as he could. And she was like, look, he's not coming. I'm not being induced, so you may as well go. The minute he got on that plane, she went into labour. She drove herself to the hospital, herself, just on her own. She had her neighbours look after the little girl that they had at the time. She would have been about 18 months, I think, or 2 maybe. So that was fine. Yeah, drove herself into the hospital, gave birth. I remember her saying, this is Theo. She sent pictures of the group. Like, this is Theo, born at like 8:03. Looked at the clock, it was like 8:05. Behind her, she took a selfie and like, so it was like 2 minutes ago, this baby had come out and she's already sending us a picture. She drove home then, about like 2 hours later, just like on her own.
Brilliant.
I was like, what? And then I thought, how am I meant to do that?
I didn't even open my eyes on the drive to Merthyr. I was just like,
I mean, she wasn't
Yeah.
in like established. She knew she had to get herself there a little bit earlier. But the fact she was like, yeah, like my contractions, she's like, I'm gonna just get there,
yeah.
have a little bit extra time in the hospital, so I'm here. And then had the baby, pushed him out, boom, he's here. Right, home time.
Mad.
On her own.
What will you do? Are you going to have any more kids, Soph?
Me? Oh, I would have 100. Yeah, we are. Once we've got the wedding, we get married in Ibiza in July. And once we've done that, and we said the other day, 1 more month, and then we can just see what happens. So that's really exciting. Obviously, how long it'll take, we don't know. But we would like to have one and then bam, another one out really quick.
Yeah.
Because we'd like 3 or 4. Obviously, we're saying that from a very naive perspective of a very, very easy baby.
Oh, no,
Jack's been
it's
a dream.
fine. Just,
I'd
they
love
bring each other
sorry.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love
They
like,
make
all three.
the thought of like the Christmas dinner table in 10 years' time. I
Yeah.
want it to be chaos. I just
Yeah.
want there to be kids everywhere. And then when they're older and they're bringing their partners, I just want it to be.
I want it,
big.
yeah, that's what I want, because I got a really like small farm. I want a
Mm.
big farm.
I do too.
And
I
I
got
don't want to
3.
be, I don't want to be the father's yeah, we're going to be the mother's. No, because it's like Charlie's mother. We always go to the mothers. You go
yeah.
to the girlfriend's mothers, don't know.
Well, yeah,
Like
I suppose
basically,
majority of the time.
but we're going to be the father's side.
I know they're gonna find a woman and leave us. Oh.
No, I'm going to be the
Listen,
cool
I've
one.
got a
I do
son.
makeup.
I've got a son and 2 girls. My son's 25. I just want to be a grandmum. Like, I've had a fucking gutsful now.
Yeah.
They've been together like 7 years. She's like my daughter. I made sure that I had that relationship
Yeah.
with it.
That's
Because I was like, no way, I'm not being involved in everything. And we get
Yeah.
on really well. She's wicked.
Oh,
I
that's
love her to
good.
bits. But it is a different relationship. And I see it from a midwifery perspective as well.
yeah.
Like, when you're looking after someone, the dad's mum often struggles with that kind of how much can I be involved in.
That's why I was like, Charlie, mother can come up, yeah. We'll all have a. But it was
Oh,
like,
it's going to be lush.
yeah, when you have a home though, it's like, oh, they live an hour away in Monmouth. So I'm like,
She might come on, just catch the end, and she'd love that.
yeah. Like,
Oh,
maybe,
again,
like,
even more important, listen to your hormones, listen to your emotions.
Mm.
with
Like,
Miles, I just turned over at 6 a.m. and then it popped, and I was like, so I could, it might be the same. I'll just be like, come on.
I do actually have a question for you about having more children, because I personally, at this point in time, I don't know if it's like where we live, our house is a lot smaller. I don't feel like my home is the environment I want to have another baby in, and Ellis is not particularly on board with it either. So I want us to both be on the same page. So definitely midwife-led unit if I can next time, just to have that kind of in-between thing. But because I had a C-section, obviously I'm going to do my best to have a VBAC if I can, and I'll monitor everything. But then if I do have a C-section, I heard this stat that if you have 3 C-sections, you can't have any more kids, or like they don't recommend anymore. Like, what is the information there? Like, how many can you have?
There's, it changes all the time. So I'm not really like I'm not like a research midwife or anything
Yeah.
like that, but
Yeah.
physiologically, so biologically, what your body can cope with, obviously, the more scars you have on your uterus, the more, you know, dangerous it is to have more and more sections. But I mean, I've had ladies who've had 6 sections. You can't say no. You can't say to a person, no, you can't have any more, is that word, isn't it?
Oh, right.
But you know, it used to be 4.
Yeah, because I feel like I don't know if the number's 3 now. It's just maybe what I've heard other people say. But like I am a bit panicky that if I do end up having another C-section, whether if I opt for one for whatever reason, I want one or I'm kind of have to have one. I don't want to then be like, oh, it's limiting like the amount of kids I could potentially have. I don't know, I'm a bit worried.
No, and in ways that it depends what kind of C-section you had as well. Like if you had an emergency C-section, baby was stuck, you lost a lot of blood, your uterus has got a lot of scars on it, that comes into play as well. So it's not black and white. But I love VBACs. I absolutely love H-backs, which are home birth after cesarean. But you fly because you laboured really last time.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I loved, honestly, I was absolutely loving it. Obviously, I look back at videos and your brain does forget, doesn't it? Like trauma and like discomfort and stuff. But I look back at videos and I'm really in the zone. And Sophie's got to go. I just like breathing through it, and oh my God, I just loved it. And when they told me, you've done so well, your body's doing it, like you've got to 5 centimeters, and they were very, very good with like my wording and stuff, because I didn't want them to say things like, oh, you're only 5 centimeters, or to be like, boom, 5 centimeters, gal, or wow, you're at 2 centimeters, whatever, just keeping that positivity. And my consultant was stunning, she was so good, and I just felt like, oh, even though I now can't give birth in the way my brain initially wanted it to, it still made me feel like you're doing it. Yeah.
So you'll be fine with the feedback. So don't definitely will. You'll be fine with the home birth as well, by the way. Just saying.
I know. I'll see how yours goes.
Yeah, see how mine goes.
I'll be in this window. I will.
Yeah.
Hello.
You know what I was going to say? If you're looking for sponsorship, if you film your birth, everyone will sponsor you.
Oh my God. It was funny but having Miles. I was mooing. It just went, but it went fast. It was all good. But I wish I could bloody watch it back myself.
I know, because it is a bit of a blur, isn't it? Like I did say to Alice, I said, unless I say don't, I said just film as much as you can.
Yeah, I'm definitely setting up loads of cameras.
Yeah.
Tripods.
Do it.
I really want to
do it. And like,
back.
if the midwife doesn't want to be in it, some of them don't want to, you know, it's fine. Just don't want to be in it. That's fine.
I didn't really even see him with Miles. Anyway, they stepped back for ages. They just sat back and they just let me crack on. So I feel like I didn't even see him talk about it, or like they just put a mirror down there and then said, off you go.
Well, Kat, Sophie's got
mammals.
Sorry, Sophie's got to go, but we'll definitely talk to you again in the future. Like maybe if when Sophie's closer to giving birth or something like that. But if you want people to get in touch with you, like give it a little bit more information about yourself, sell yourself, and like how can people find you on social media?
So my Instagram is Kat the Midwife. My website is Kat the Midwife. My Facebook is Kat the Midwife with a K. If you just put in Google independent midwife Cardiff or Wales, then I come up at the top because I'm the only one. I want to help everyone, so please just like look me out, find me on Instagram. It's a newish page, so there's not much. I haven't got many followers, but I'm always posting free advice, free reels and things like that, so just connect.
Love it.
We will.
I can't wait to be pregnant again and be pestering you, so I just hope at some point this year and I'll be like, right then, what else did I not learn last time, and how do I just love the knowledge, like my brain to be full of baby knowledge.
When are you getting married?
July, yeah. And funnily enough, if my app is right, I will ovulate, because I'm so on it, although my periods are all over the shop. I will ovulate like the night before the wedding.
When I ovulated, I just booked him in Christmas week and I was like, come on, let's go, baby.
And then their middle name's going to be Ibiza.
Yeah.
I love it. No, it's got to be Ibiza.
Baby.
Ibiza. Just
yeah. So I'm going to have a really good time in Ibiza. I'm going to
have a really good time
and have all the sushi and all that.
I thought you were going to say something else then. How can I have all the
do the cowgirl. do the cowgirl, be all, be all of that.
Yeah.
Do it when he's asleep.
Yeah.
Don't give a shit anyway, and just go.
Come on, love, let's crack on. But I feel
Really,
like
number
this
2.
time round, like when we last were trying, we weren't living in the same country, so it was a lot more like, quick, come on, we got 1 minute, let's do it.
Yeah.
Whereas now it can be a lot more free and like fun.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
It does
Enjoy
change a little bit though when
yourself,
you've booked in and you're like, I want it to happen. But
Yeah.
so like, come on, we haven't done it for a day or 2. Come
I
on.
know it's shit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm.
But luckily,
Yeah.
I'm so bloody lucky. I think we had it like 6 times, and then
She's so fertile.
like literally it was amazing. I booked Charlie in December the 21st, and I found out on the 13th of Jan I was pregnant. I was like, whoa, you've got some good
I love
swimmers. I was like, yes. Soon as my period ended, I was like 21st of December. We are booked you in, sis.
Just one more tip before I go, because I know you both want big families. We've got 3. I've had like 9 miscarriages as well.
Oh my God.
So I'm super fertile, but couldn't carry any more kids for whatever reason. We tried for years after our 3rd to have more. So even my husband wasn't up for a 3rd. He wanted more after.
Oh.
It just didn't happen. Like, I think we gave up when she was 7 or 8. So if you want a big family, you're at your most fertile, like after you've had babies.
Yeah, yeah.
So don't leave it too late. Just a little tip
I
for you.
know, it's that bloody added pressure as well. And unfortunately, like men in theory can just whack them out till they're 90, but we sadly, as shit as it is, we do have a clock, and you just never know. So, but also live your life. Like if you don't know if you're ready, or not, like you've got to you can't just be like, oh well, I should have one now because of my age. You've got to actually want it as well. But like
Absolutely.
I would have had a baby when I was 21, but there we are.
Well, biologically, the best age to have a baby is like 14, 15. How gross is that?
Oh my God.
That's when you're
we were. I feel like we're a good age now. We've lived our life. I met Charlie when I was like 27. I Ibiza, we went to Vegas. We done all the holidays. I done all the part. I ever missed out or anything. And now I'm like, yeah, family time now. I don't like going out. I just like going for food and just chilling with my little family. Like my
having
kids, is like what I can do with Miles. Like
shed
I just
shed
live for the weekend with Miles.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for your time, Kat. We really appreciate it, and we love what you do. You're a superstar, and I
need to follow you actually myself.
Yeah, you do.
I do.
Yeah.
I'll put a post up saying that we've spoken, and I'll tag you in it as well, so people follow you. Thank you, girl. Enjoy. Bye, girl.
Have a nice weekend. Ta-ra.